And that beautiful city on your screen now is Bahrain, where we are hosting the Blast Global Finals. We finished one best of three, the first one of the day. It went the way of NIP. 2-0 win over FaZe. But now, lads, we get to get into the second match of the day. Second best of three here at Blast.
That's going to be an interesting one, right? That's two of the best teams, if not the two best teams of the entire world throughout the entire year. Astralis, obviously, it's been the year of Astralis. It's been them winning both majors. It's been them dominating the scene for quite some time. But there was a period where some American team did pretty well.
Yeah, listen, this game it's the matchup of the year. There's no way around. If you're watching Counter-Strike, if you're new to this, if you're old to this, it doesn't matter. These are the two best teams of the recent times. On one hand, you have Astralis. We talked about him on so many different desks, optimizing Counter-Strike to the length that we hadn't seen before, right? Tactically speaking, pushing the limits, pushing the barriers of the great Counter-Strike. And then you have Liquid, an amount of individual talent that is unsurpassed, never seen before. When Liquid was winning all these tournaments, when they had that crazy run of 60 days undefeated and winning 6 tournaments in a row, making the Grand Slam, individually speaking, no one could talk with them. There was no negotiation. You'd lose rounds anyway because they could take you down. So you have the Polish Counter-Strike and the crazy talent, and they clash together for our pleasure.
Exactly right. I mean, Pimp, what do you think about this going into it? Just heads up.
Heads up, I think it's going to be a great one. I think you're right when you say there's a contrast of styles going up against each other. I think you have, as you said, some of the strongest individuals in the entire world on the server. That goes on for Astralis as well. Yeah. Have Device, he's in the race for being the best player of the year. I mean, it depends on how you want to argue it and how you want to present it, but definitely the guy who has won the most, while being the guy who's performed the best. Then you have a guy like Stewie 2K. He's one of the most fun players to watch in the game. Statistically speaking, he's not up there with the Device. He's not up there with a Dupree or anything like that. But he's such an explosive player to watch play Counter-Strike. And he's always fun to watch. Even when he's having a bad game, you can be 100% sure he's going to yell stupid stuff. He's going to be fired up. And it's always fun to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, he's always the one with the clips on Reddit, it seems like. Every time I'm going in there, it's like, oh, okay, on another highlight reel here from Stewie as he no-scopes 2 people with an op. And then that's just what he's capable of. He is that kind of player.
Also, Stewie's impact in the team goes way beyond, as we have them on screen. It's way beyond just fragging and intra-fragging. Obviously, that matters a lot. But he brings emotion to the team. He brought that emotional support, that fire that they sometimes needed, because we said it, Liquid, sometimes the game is mental. This is where they lose, or they lost themselves in the past. Now you bring in someone like Stewie, he's a fighter, he wants to battle, and he has that fire with him. So they need him to be fired up, because when he does, he brings everyone with him. In that sense, to me, he's like Apex. When Apex is in there, he brings everyone with him. Stewie is the same.
I would definitely agree, and you looked besides him. Who else can perform that role within Team Liquid? And I'm knowing the players and having played with some of them, no one else can do that.
Well, that's exactly the thing. You offer specific insight into this.
Sure. I mean, a guy like Elise, a guy like John, he's a guy that has involved a lot lately. He's become way more mature, and he's a much better player nowadays than he were 2 years ago. But he's not the guy that's going to, yell, and he's not the guy that is going to get the team fired up. There's only Stewie 2K who can do that on this lineup, and that's, a lot to ask for a guy who also have such an important role within the game. If he's feeling bad, if he's having a bad time entry-fracking, if he's getting shot down by, Device with an AWP, still having to compose yourself, still having to make sure that all the teammates around you feel good, even though you may feel bad in the game, is a lot to ask for. So he's a very critical part of this lineup, and I think sometimes, even when he's playing bad, he deserves a lot of credit for at least trying to make it a positive thing, at least trying to get Elise, Twist, Naf fired up, because we know those 3 with a rifle in their hands, the best trio in Counter-Strike potentially.
I believe that Elige is criminally underrated. Like, we don't talk about Elige enough, right?
Okay.
The numbers he have and the impact he has every single game is mental. We talked about Device, right? One of the most MVP ever. I think 9 MVP HLTV he had this far, right? Well, in terms of number, Elige is up there. 121 rating in the past 3 months. He's up to par with Device. And we don't talk about him enough. Elige, to me, is actually a discussion about the best player. Like, he would be in that hat if you had to pick. Maybe not the one, but his name would be in the discussion. If not, that's a mistake.
I agree. HLTV ranking of the year. Is this what we're waiting for right now, Maniac? Are you over there?
He should be
You're
up
typing
there.
to Peter every day.
Like, listen, if you don't put
Elige.
To me, he's in the top 5. That's non-negotiable.
Yeah, for sure in the top 5. But you have to think, if you want to break into the top 3, he's going up against Device, Symbol, and Cyber. There's a lot to be, a lot to be asked for in Elise. I agree. He's definitely part of that conversation, and I think
got me started like Zywu.
Yeah, well, he's the best player in the world anyway. I think Elise is.
Oh, okay, hold on. We can get into this a little bit more.
I didn't want to say it because somehow we have to focus on what's coming, but that discussion is a great one.
It's a fun discussion, and it is, rightfully true to have Elise in there. But Cyber, Symbol, Device, I think they have performed, at a level that just for Elise to be in that discussion, just for Elise to be part of that, trio is somewhat, noticeable and somewhat respectable. I think Elise is a player that, at a certain time in his career, he can get to the device level, right? We have him on the screen right here, potentially the best player in the world. We don't really know how that's going to pan out. It depends on how you dodge it, but he's also, under the leadership of what I would, consider to be the best in-game leader to ever touch Counter-Strike Global Offensive Enclave. I think he's done so much for Astralis. He's such a versatile guy, in Astralis, and he offers,
He is vertical as well. I mean, he's a pretty tall guy.
He's kind of
tall guy, but he offers everything, right? He's such a great player. He can be the individual player that can take over a game sometimes. He's so good in clutches, and I know from playing with Glaive for 4 or 5 years in my early days that the way he speaks and the way he communicates elevates everyone around him. That's that's an attribute not a lot of players have.
Yeah, look at that. He even knows it. He senses it. His ears are burning right now. Knows we're talking about him.
He's like a captain, right? He's not only an in-game leader, he's a captain. And we saw in Beijing the impact he had, like 148 rating. That was absolutely ridiculous. So he can do it. In my opinion, not consistently enough. I mean, Beijing was like a blip on the radar. In terms of numbers, he was really up there. But we saw what he could do. And you're right, I think he brings everyone with him. And if he's having a good game, it also means that he reads the game well. And that's one of his strengths. When he sees and understands what's happening, he puts himself right in the dead center of the tactic. And he has the impact. And I think it's really cool.
You want to hear fun thing about that Beijing event? That was the first event he decided to pick up the SG. Up until that point, he refused to play with it.
I wonder if there
always
is a
go with the AK-47. Then, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but he told me he picked up the SG for that tournament, and he ended up being the MVP and just destroying everyone. So maybe the SG is a little bit too overpowered.
What's the story behind?
Yeah, there's this weird thing. Maybe he has got like a history in COD or something, and he was coming up and he was like, I don't want to. I want to be pure. I must be pure for CS. And then he realized, oh wait, no, hold on. If I pick up this gun, we win. So there you go, boys. There you go, boys. That's usually how it goes. What I love about both of these teams is that both of these teams have been through trials and tribulations. Sure. Both of these teams have such a storied history in the sense that they've gone through their struggles. Astralis, you wouldn't think that a 4-time major winning team used to choke out of every semifinal that they'd ever attended before, way back, the core at least, right? Before the days of Glaive, before we actually had some of the shifts in the roster. But the core of that team struggled mightily. Now they're seen as one of the best teams, if not the best team in the world. And the same could be said for Liquid with NA. Always, just getting up there, but never quite making it to the top of the podium.
Yeah, and I mean, if you talk about Astralis, even in recent times, they've had turbulences, right? There was a time where the community was against them because they were skipping events and they were maybe mismanaging their calendar. Well, they're back up. They're here. They're winning events again. They're dangerous.
So what we need to find out now is, where is this battle going to take place? And we do have a pick and ban video now to take a look at that.
Alright guys, vetoes. Liquid decided to go second, so you have the first ban.
Yeah, we'll ban Mirage.
Alright. Ban Mirage. You guys want to ban?
Ban Train.
Ban Train.
So yeah, once again, we will pick Nuke.
It's a surprise.
Pick CT.
So that's fine. Alright, do that later. And you have a pick?
We will pick Inferno.
Inferno. Alright.
Okay, we'll pick CT as well.
You pick CT?
Yeah, and then we have Overpass. What
So
do
we have Overpass,
Dust 2.
In,
Dust 2.
and Dust 2.
Yeah, we ban Vertigo.
Ban Vertigo.
Overpass D2 left. Yeah. Ban Overpass.
Ban Overpass.
D2 third map.
And D2 third map.
We're used to this by now.
Yes, we are.
Alright,
Yeah.
you guys happy?
It is.
Let's do a handshake.
Good luck, guys.
And good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Alright.
All right.
So it's worth pointing out there was no pick on the sides there for the third map. We do have a knife round to settle who gets to start on which side on that third map if we go to it. Dust 2. If we're hoping that that's going to be the reality.
Yeah.
More CS of this caliber. We should all be happy for that.
I mean, the 4 first cases here make sense, right? That's what we expected. I'm talking about the train veto, the Mirage veto, then Nuke and Inferno. I could see that coming. I am bewildered by that Vertigo ban from Astralis, allowing Dust 2 to be a third map. To me, that could be a dangerous map. I don't know what you think about it, but they could have just removed Dust 2, leave Overpass that has been a complication, to say the least, for Liquid, and then allow Vertigo, because we know they can play Vertigo. Instead, they allow Dust 2 as a third.
I like it because I think Astralis have a lot of confidence in the Dust 2. The problem with it is we saw at the Pro League finals in Odense, not only did they lose that Mouse Sports game in the semi-final, they were leading 14-7. They should have won Dust 2 by that. It could have been a 16-7 win for Astralis, and you wouldn't be standing here talking about Astralis. Dust 2 is a little bit of a struggle. Now, the problem is they also lost to G2 on Dust 2 in that tournament. So, yes, they've had 2, losses in a row on a map, and yet they still feel comfortable pulling it out against Team Liquid. I think that says a lot about Astralis. It's one of the best teams in the world in terms of fixing their mistakes, weeks, realizing what is it that happened in this given situation that we didn't win out. And you got to respect the fact that they were up 14-7 against Mouseport. So for the majority of that game, they were by far the better team. Unfortunately for Astralis, they weren't able to close it out. So they still have confidence in the Dust 2. And yes, you could argue Vertigo probably would have been a more fun game to watch, or at least interesting in that sense. But Dust 2 is a map both these teams play. So I think we got a pretty good map pool going on for both.
It's going to be exciting because then if it feels like Dust 2 lends itself to just the out-and-out frag battle. Like, who's going to hit hardest at the end, right? It's as if you're going the distance in a boxing match or something. It's just who's got the heart at the end to pull through and win.
That's my issue. You hear it yourself when you say it's a pound-for-pound battle, it's very harsh, very raw. Then that's how we describe Liquid. These are the attributes we give to the North American. They're harsh, they have the skill, they have the talent, right? But I mean, there's no way around it. This is going to be a banger of a series. If you're at home, let me just tell you this. These two teams have played 7 best-of-3s in 2019. 6 of them went to 3 maps. That's not even a question anymore. It's like watching a movie and you know the movie is going to be great. There is no question the movie is going to be amazing. So, pop the popcorn, the coffee, whatever it is, because this is going to go all the way, I'm sure of it.
I think there's a few interesting stats to note out here. We just saw the win percentage on the CT side for Team Liquid. That's 70, right? And the T percent is not that high, whereas for Astralis, it's more, even 50-50. So Liquid, they need a strong CT side. They're relying on that strong, hold of the players, of the individuals to step up on pretty much all these maps, especially when you consider Infernos is in the map pool. If you don't have a strong CT side against a team like Astralis, they're going to run over you. So again, the individuals need to step up. And we keep saying that, but in this game in particular, it's going to be very important.
And you say CT side, I give you one name, Twist. Twist is the one. And I will make a bold statement, but I do believe that when Liquid was winning all these events, in my book, Twist was one of the best CT player in the world.
Sure.
Undisputed in his position. You can talk about the big pit on Inferno, for example, was always good for 2 or 3, positioning, crosser placement, everything. I think he had he digged down. Twist kind of disappeared in the past 3 months. I just had some fun with the numbers, right? When Liquid was winning all these events, Twist had 1.22 rating. That's a very high number. Let me be clear on that. Past 3 months, 108. That is a big gap. Quick Math is not having a good game as he used before. And he's going to be instrumental, right? We talk about the CT side. That's the man I want to look at. I want to see rock solid Twist.
And he used to be a big game player as well, right? A big round player. Whenever Liquid, in that period where they were winning, whenever they were feeling pressure, whenever they were down, in a 13-13 situation, you could always count on Twist showing up to do some ridiculous triple K or just, take over a round by himself, just like the guy on your screen used to do, right?
Well, there's the guy on the screen, but also there was an interesting statistic there that NAF was the best performing player against Astralis in the past several times that they faced. This maybe lends into the point that you're trying to make here. If NAF, who is no slouch in his own right, who is definitely a guy who's showing that he is capable of hitting shots,
sure.
But if he's your top fragger, if he's your top performer, when we are putting so much focus on Elige, when we are putting so much focus on Twist, it's clear that we really need to actually be looking at Elige and Twist and seeing, all right, are you guys going to step up against Astralis, or have Astralis just dug into your brains?
Yeah, and that's one of the few arguments I guess you can have against Elige being a top player, at least being the best player in the world. Yes, he consistently delivers, and as of recently, he's been playing at a very high level. You can't neglect that at all. But against the very big teams, against a team like Astralis, we haven't seen that performance from Elige where he just took over the game against the best team in the world. And let's be honest, Astralis is one of the worst teams in the world, to play against if you're a great individual. You've seen Simple over and over again when he was the best player in the world, without a doubt, not really be able to take over the game because Astralis, they, as Forrest said before, they move as a unit. So if you want to be, the best player on the server when you're playing Astralis, you have to show up with your absolute A level.
So, does this lead to an Astralis win? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I think Astralis is going to win this game, yeah. I'm just a little bit unsure whether it's going to be 2-0 or 2-1.
Okay. Last time, thanks to these stats, we're getting great stats. Last time it was like 2, they all go to 3 maps. So the last few times that they've made it. So that's a bold claim there, 2-0 maybe?
Yeah, full on that. I think Astralis takes it, but it's going to be a 3-mapper.
A 3-mapper.
Yeah.
So,
what about you?
Because you're 100%
I'm an Astralis
right
man.
now.
I'm an Astralis man to the core. So, guys, that's going to be it. Time for match ready.
I'm with Adrian and Zonic for our match ready. Coaches, I'm expecting you to be gentlemen, but I want a little bit of spice here. Zonic, of course, you've beaten Liquid the last 5 times you've faced the boys from NA, which means they do know how you play now. So how can you keep them guessing again?
Is it 5 times?
I don't think so.
No.
Basically, yeah, it's the last 5 matches. The last time that Liquid beat Astralis was EPL Season 9 finals.
Yeah, it seems like a long time ago, but these matches are so tough, so you're not going to have me say that we're just going to smash them, because it's not going to be an easy task. It's going to be tough as always, so I hope that the fans will get a good match, but I'm pretty sure they will.
It sounds a little bit like Zonic's given up already. He might be a little bit intimidated by you, Adrian. What do you think?
No, he's just a gentleman.
So how can you beat Astralis? Because it seems like your team, they're fans of Astralis. They enjoy playing them. Maybe they get a little bit shy on the server when they're facing the boys from Denmark.
I don't know. Each series has been really close, 3 maps each time. I think we play each other really close. I think they have the edge on Nuke, obviously. But besides that, I think we play every other map like really close, and we just haven't been able to close out the 3rd map, but it's definitely possible. Last time, 16-14, so you never know.
Does that mean you're going to ban Nuke today, or are you going to let them pick it?
I wish we could ban it, but there's one map that we have to ban.
Train?
Yes.
Well, will we ever get to see you play against Astralis again? Because you did back in 2018.
On Train?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in 2020, it's maybe on the cards to actually change our map pool a little bit. We've been actually thinking about it for the last couple months. Last time I had a little boot camp, we brought it up. It's a possibility. We just haven't had enough time to actually feel confident about not banning it.
You know what, boys? Because you are being so nice to each other, I'm going to give you a different challenge, which is why should everyone at home support Team Liquid? Why should the guys on the desk say that you're going to win this series here today?
I guess because they've beat us the last 5 times. They want to see someone else win. So we want to start the year off on a win versus Astralis and end the year off a win with Astralis.
And the same to you, please, Sonic.
I mean, I don't know. It's tough to answer that question without saying something spicy. No, I think that's, I don't know. Our fans are the best, and hopefully they will keep supporting us. And I don't know. It's difficult. But they should definitely they should go with the Train. Leave that open in the veto, because I think they beat us 16-6 last time.
Okay. Well, I was about to say that response was pure yogurt, Sonic, but we got a little bit of chili powder in the end. Let's head back to the boys on the desk to see who they're pledging allegiance to. In fact, no, we're not going to head to the desk. We're going to head to a break because I need to recover after all that heat.
For a lot of teams that have had the success that you've had historically, it's hard to keep it ongoing. So how do you keep that fire alive?
Here we are at the last Pro Series, Sao Paulo.
The Corsi goes down to the Vice, so powerful, an ace.
Team Liquid versus Astralis.
Decided to play the final here with an amazing crowd.
And a stellar shot from Zipix, a 2-piece. Astralis continue to just outclass Liquid here. Nobody can touch these guys. They are not on another level. They are on another planet. Miami, it is a damn pleasure to be standing here amidst you. Astralis down to just Dupree, and FaZe could very realistically be putting them in the coffin.
The question mark coming into this event was who will meet Astralis in the grand final.
Everything was just not clicking, people misunderstanding each other.
They have been eliminated.
Spain, we love you!
Right now, Astralis, we still call them the best team in the world.
He's ready for it, another one for the pre-time to the grand final!
They are undefeated this year.
Okay,
this map.
Oh my god, there is no way they can pass this position. Is this how it ends, Dan? Looking to collect the bomb. We've got Alexi beat by O, and that's it.
It is time for Blast Copenhagen to kick off.
12,000 people all rooting for one team. No matter what happens today with Astralis, it's going to be fun.
The experience walking in here, you kind of forget all the bad things.
Simple doesn't know what. No, it's going down!
It's got the whole arena on their feet.
There it is! He's tossed them up into the air.
For Copenhagen, standoff winners Astralis!
It's the 2 best teams of 2019, another matchup that they get to go head-to-head down the stretch, a best-of-3 series. And as we heard from Adren himself, they started the year with the victory over Astralis. That's what got everyone hyped up about this matchup in this year, and they're looking to close it with one more win over them again here at the Blast Pro Series in Bahrain. But it's going to be a tough task.
It most certainly is. It has been so frequently lately. You know, they talked about opening up with that win, but it's been losses as of late.
It really has been. They've I mean, these 2 teams, I mean, Astralis just so consistent. saying, but Liquid really, I mean, after that beautiful middle stretch of the year, just kind of sliding away from being able to topple Astralis, it's been all them, and especially this nuke has been a thorn in the side for Team Liquid in this matchup specifically. So this is going to be just another tough obstacle for Liquid to overcome.
Right. It'll be. I'm curious to see if we see any improvements from them. I mean, you can only get battered and bruised so many times before you find some sort of a slip, you'd hope, in Astralis, but that's something they do so well. They don't slip up. They stay consistent. They've perfected CS in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
And especially here on Nuke.
You're exactly right. They just minimize mistakes, and that's the hard part of being able to take them out. So here we go. Just another one for Liquid to see what they can do, and obviously trying to start this tournament off on the right foot as they just watched NIP take down FaZe in a matchup earlier. And the pistol round is live here on Nuke.
And like Mathieu said before this went live, 6 out of the last 7 matches, all 3 mappers. So I feel like even if we do get another steamy result from Astralis, it's all par for the course, Jason. I don't know about you, man. I'm buckling in for the distance.
Ooh, that's a great shot from Naf. He's going to open things up 5 on 4, but again, it's not so much the kills. It's Astralis, their strength is how they can really exploit the map control that they have, and now there's a lot of pressure coming into this lower bomb site. Zip is still outside waiting for some kind of a lurk, waiting for some kind of a rotation, but it's all on Elijah's shoulders, and he's missed his first salvo.
Yeah, they know he's here. He's going to go and try to take a different fight. That one versus Glaive, who gives himself the cover of the smoke. Great flashbang. 2 players peek for it, and it's Stewie to get himself onto the board. Bomb, fake plant. He goes back in for the fight. Glaive very much isolated and twists. Fast flank. That's going to give him a chance to drop bomb. Still no plant. He's pinched, but he's also punching right back the other way. Finally, Naf slows this play down and takes the 3v2.
Yeah, but there's still a chance. Zip's going to take some damage. It's all on Dupree. He's got to do so much low health on Nitro as he transitions down the ramp. And Dupree's still waiting. 45 seconds, and Astralis can choose to be as patient as they'd like, but Dupree is ever aggressive, and Nitro is pinned down.
Oh man, he wants this one. Nitro just trying to keep the top of his head down. Now realizes he can just wait. There's no real way for anybody to unearth him from this position. Even Zipex more patiently stands back. I mean, he has 14 health, so he wants Dupree to take that front line. The same way Naf wants Nitro in the front. And the big question is still, how do you get back across? How do you grab this bomb? How do you plant with 15 seconds? 2 CTs back towards control. Door swung wide. And he's just going to have to barrel out. He's able to cross. Now that enables the bomb plant. Zipex has to give cover. And he's going to go for it. 6 seconds. Finally decides to commit.
Yeah, but they're just so pinned down. They're limited. They're both inside the bomb site. Naf's committed. That's 1 kill for him. And now Dupree, too many angles. That's a pistol round. A hard-fought pistol round for Liquid. But they're on the board 1-0.
Gone ahead and done it. First kill, of course, happens on that cross. They skim one off of the numbers before they even get downstairs. Like you said, it's using map control, and they had map control. They split that B site. They had control window. Got kind of stagnant on the bomb site, though. Stuck behind that smoke. Glaive wasn't able to fast plant, and that's fine. They slowed it down, but then they lost control. 2 players on the bomb site in the post plant.
Yeah, well, I actually really like, I think most of it was the patience from Team Liquid. And I mean, you want to talk about how many times these 2 teams have played in a matchup. Like, Liquid knows exactly what to expect when Astralis slows things down. That's when you see opponents of Astralis frequently make those mistakes. When all of a sudden Astralis is so aggressive, and then they just stop. And then you don't know what's coming next. And that's when you can kind of slip up and get out of position. Liquid played that very, very well in the 2-on-2.
They're going to come in with a buy, of course. Couple of rifles in the mix. We had early grenades thrown out into lobby. Device, Deagle, contact, outdoors. Nobody here to face him, really. Naf fly over towards CT spawn. But we do have Magisk out through Squeaky.
Oh, I actually thought he might have been able to spot a leg underneath that smoke, but it's covering everything, so Magisk might want to fall away. It looks like it's almost there. Another smoke going down in the door, but Magisk, he sees that. Oh, that's a great shot. Nitro can't react fast enough. And now it's on Twist, alone in the bomb site. No pressure except for the nade. Meanwhile, the attack heading towards ramp room.
Yep, and Elige, he hasn't found anything outdoors at all. They are, however, held back. That Molotov from Stewie is going to keep them at bay, and Elige does cull the numbers at least by 1. Very much corralled here through the squeaky door. Magisk was able to slip downstairs, but that's been dealt with, although he opened an opportunity for Astralis. They've all gone down towards B site.
And they've all swarmed down into the lower site. They all have great position. Elige with only 8 HP can only be passive and only be taken down. A plant is going to go in behind the silo, and the vents are being covered by Glaive, and he just stands his ground. Another 2-on-2 for Liquid to recover.
Yeah, again, coming in from that decontamination, they've gotten to the site, but Zipex with the high ground is going to seal the deal there. 2 kills. Again, we find ourselves on the B site, and the force buy works for Astralis. The economy plays to their favor off that plant, and they make it happen. Nicely done by Magis there, clearing out the vent player. You know, you see this one, this frag, when the smoke goes past. He had one real chance at dropping Nitro, and of course he nails it.
And this is just the strength of Astralis, so good in these rounds as well. Even everything going right for Liquid for some time there. Stewie forcing away that attack in ramp room perfectly in a 1 versus 3 as the sole defender. And even pushing forward to get the information. And they still can't come out on top, so we're all tied up 1-1. And it's Liquid's turn to try and recover with just the pistols, 3 Deagles, 2 CZs, and not a whole lot of utility. Pretty default spread for the defense at the moment, with Elige playing outside in the warehouse. Naf is going to be in the secret stairs, and they'll try and work together to find a timing to pinch any kind of presence outside.
All the utility thrown up and over. 3 smokes to get this outer yard. 2 players push towards red. Bomb doubles back towards lobby. Elige, no information added. And Naf, he's even fallen back slightly.
Naf's going to have a big test here. So is Elige, actually, as that smoke clears, and he's going to come on top of his, but Naf still, he needs to hold on to this. If Device can win this battle, all of a sudden that is a great amount of map control, but Naf wins it as well. Now Stewie, his turn with the Deagle, and with the 2-man advantage, he doesn't have to commit to that fight. He falls away and he plays it smart.
Yeah, he dips. He ducks back onto the side of ramp, and Zipex just takes his head clean off. Nice angle here from Naf, using those open doors to his advantage. A Molotov through control window means he can't go and head and peek, and Dupree should have had eyes on that cross. They know now that Zipex can instead, or Magis, excuse me, make his move towards control. So now doubling up on this, looking to fight shoulder to shoulder, but they've seen this. Flashbang meant to push them back. Again, the force buy works for Astralis' favor in the second and Team Liquid's in the third.
Yeah, unfortunately for Astralis, Liquid, that positioning from Elige and Naf, they found 2 1 versus 1s with those Deagles with weird angles that Astralis wasn't prepared to peek into. So we trade rounds back and forth, a 2-1 lead for Liquid, and they're able to recover plenty of rifles. 4 players surviving in this round. They get 4 free rifles out of it. That is a huge economic boon for Team Liquid.
What a great way for them to just bounce back. Big shot from Elige, even bigger from Nafly. If Naf gets pinched, if he dies in that situation, if he doesn't get his hands on that Krieg before they're able to clear out Stewie and work their way towards site, then he's not holding that angle. He's not cutting down those numbers. And Team Liquid, sure enough, are not going to win that round. So back and forth we go here, Jason.
This could be another tricky round, though. The buy isn't great whatsoever for Astralis. They have no armor, just some upgraded P250s, but this could be very fast. And if that chaotic, that gets hectic and Liquid loses track of 1 or 2 players, it could be an issue. Nitro inside of the site, but he's the only one in this upper bomb site.
The old vent drop. Successful indeed. At least Astralis have that plant. They're not going to get themselves any cheeky pistol kills as of yet. Although, keep note of Dupree. He's floating around this A site. Only Zipex down beneath.
They've got the bonus money. If they can just pinch the upper bomb site, they can recover that weapon and maybe not even go for the win at this point. Maybe just try and find some guns you can use in the next round. Elige has to back away due to the dink, and you can see he's already bailing out of the fight, trusting his teammates to win this against just the Glocks, and they should be able to. Should be able to easily. Utility being put up. The defuse has begun, but it's all 10 seconds. It actually could be very dangerous. They're just going to be able to have it. Stewie finds Zip through the smoke, and a 3rd round for Liquid.
Tight one. This time, again, 4 survivors for Liquid, so we're talking about that accumulation of cash. Not only those free weapons, but 2 back-to-back rounds with only losing 1 player is going to be good for them. Establishing early. I mean, that 2nd round force buy makes you think, oh, here we go. Yeah. Astralis going to dump them already. But not yet. However, finding themselves back on the buy. This is when things get real tricky.
Now we get to see Astralis reach into the playbook with all the utility with the AKs, the Kriegs back in the board. And if we know anything about Astralis' T-sides, masters of exploiting outside control. And if they can establish that dominance early, if they can just teach Liquid that they'll still be able to control this outer yard, they have so many options open up based off of that control. Smoke wall is really messed up. Got to use an extra one to get past. Nade is going to come out perfectly timed. Massive damage on the glaive. Elige and Naf are tasked to defend this outer site, or this outer yard, and then the stairs that they're going to head down right now.
Yeah, 4 players down. Just Zipex kind of bringing up the tail end. Same angle from Naf. Same result, except he gets traded 1 after. Now, those doors already wide open. This is going to enable the push for Astralis. They're very rapidly trying to pinch into this so fast, in fact, that Stewie gets caught off guard, and Zipex, we talked about him, the tail end of the caboose, manages to drop yet another. So right into the gun rounds for Astralis, right into victory lane.
Well, that's where you could see that position from NAF that was so effective with the Deagle. If there's 2 players there, where do you go? You basically have to stand your ground and see if you can win that second fight. There's no real chance for you to fall back if there's an aggressive trade attempt from the T side. So he gets dropped, and obviously that lurker outside is going to cause a lot of problems. As long as Astralis doesn't lose too many players on the entries down those stairs, that lurker is going to be super effective. 3-2 now. But thanks to the fact that Liquid, upgraded to 4 of those rifles previously with 4 players surviving in that 3rd round win, they're still going to have the economy, the money to buy in the next one. So they'll still be able to have a pretty strong fight going into round number 6.
Outside, I think that's where the big question lies. What did Team Liquid do to try and throw a wrench into Astralis? He talked about it, the dominance outdoors. Kind of trademarked by the Danes.
I think the big thing that I think Liquid's going to have to look at on this defense is how they want to rotate downstairs, because Stewie is frequently the sole defender in ramp room, and we've seen a couple times when Astralis head down those stairs, Liquid's not able to rotate 2 players down there to shore up that bomb site. It's usually just Stewie coming by, and that time he didn't have the read on the timing. He didn't think they were going to turn that corner. He was being very casual as he tried to get into position.
Whoa, fast hut push already into the A site. Nitro from back behind the bomb site. Good job on getting 2. And a fast peek from Stu is what keeps them in control. But Glave's on the clutch. Minute 30, and Stewie's gonna drop down. That's an audio cue and a bomb that can be picked right back up. Smoke fading on Mini. And Naf taking the high road. That AWP that he put over towards ramp did not see the light of day as of yet. And he's staying crouched here. He wants to play shoulder to shoulder with Elige.
Yeah, I like this rotation from Elige very, very much. Both going to be in the same position. They can both swing out wide if they hear that bomb going down. If Glaive can find some way to quietly pick up the bomb, though, there's over a minute on the clock. He's got so many options if he can recover that. And now Liquid want to go for the information. There's the drop down. There's the shot from NAF. Great teamwork. Doubled up towards Hut, and Liquid have a 4th.
Are you shocked by that? Are you shocked by how fast they come barreling out Hut? Because I feel like first players on bomb site were caught off guard.
Absolutely. Well, that flashbang was so brutal for Twist up in Rafters, and that's exactly what it's designed to do. It's designed to give Astralis that 1 second to find the entry kill. As you said, Nitro saves the day with a double kill in that round. If he goes down just after 1, if he gets traded, that round's essentially over. Astralis going for a very shocking uppercut, essentially. And Liquid are able to sustain. A timeout being called as well, as the Danes want to talk things over.
2 moments to praise for me in that mid-round there, in the 2v1 advantage. I mean, the fact that Naf just tucks his head, stays crouched, gets into heaven, but doesn't make a move, waits to jubble up with Elige, and then once they're together, they feel like Glaive's up to something, and they didn't let him make anything further than that. He checks his flank a couple of times. Once he decides to finally go and try to retrieve bomb, they drop on him. They use 2 different angles, 2 different levels of verticality, and they just shut down anything he was ever going to try to get rolling.
Yeah, I mean, the genius of that from Liquid is the fact that, 2 players, they rotate to work together. Stewie had already gone down, and you cannot give someone like Glaive, or actually, you can't give anyone on this Astralis team. If they're on a 1-on-2, you cannot give them those individual fights. So that was very, very smart for Elige to come around and work together with NAF, both in heaven. Timeout coming to a close. 2-round lead for the North American side. Americans and Canadians.
Yes, it's true. Representation.
I won't leave you out like that. Won't do you dirty like that.
I feel you. We're the right people to be casting this one, Jason.
It does work out. It does indeed.
But will it work out for Liquid? That's the bigger question. Again, we talk about that early half-buy win, keeping people alive, and now right back into another fast clash. Elige, turn around. Whoa. That could have gone either way. That's such a 50-50 moment. That's such a haphazard situation. But even on his retreat, he's nearly caught a second time.
I don't know if he spotted that player up top. Dupree with the deagle didn't want to peek into Glaive, trying to catch the retreating player, but Naf's there with the cover, at range with the op. You have to admire the aggressiveness of that play from Elige. He wants to get grimy with this fight. 4-2. And those 2 players, Device and Glaive, going down for Astralis, their strategy has gone to hell. They need to go to plan B.
Man, whether it was pushing to the bottom of Silo or even falling all the way back towards CT spawn, I don't think Elige let go of the W key that entire time. And oh wow, Magisk almost able to find himself way more than he should. Dupree's going to pick up what was left of Twists, left on minimal health, and there's another great headshot. Another clutch attempt, and of course, it's not Glaive this time, it's Zipex. 50 seconds for him to play with. He already has the bomb, and of course, he rips the headshot. Another? No! Stu able to stop it. Op grabbed as 1 player survives. That round all too close.
No, but it's so cool to watch from Astralis. A 3 versus 5 that turns into a 1-on-1. That is like a one of those kind of silver linings, a victory of sorts. But the desk talked about the disparity between Liquid, who has an emphasis on individual skill, Astralis, who has the strategic and the tactical depth. Astralis can go down into that individual skill as well. That's how they come back in this 3 versus 5. There's no teamwork there. That's Magisk finding 1 kill in the upper bomb site and the rest of his team being able to exploit the information that he gains.
So quickly too, right? The way Dupree just slips into Mini, gets one more, catches the headshot towards Heaven. Like you said, just this explosive 3v5 turn 1v1. Oh, a bit of a robbery versus Naf. He does the damage, but doesn't topple Glaive. Can Alige, who steps up to bat, find more than one? Because the first headshot's there. He doesn't want to trace Zipex. No, sir. Let him come to you. I mean, with this little of a buy, it's not meant to work at all. Twists making money off the SMG.
And they need it. I mean, 2 kills in this round so far for Astralis is not bad. If Dupree can add 1 more on top of it, it's going to be a miracle if he could. But still, that's some damage done to an economy that can't really survive that kind of taking those losses. They don't have a lot of cash flow whatsoever. 6-2, a solid lead, but that can disappear very quickly if this money gets depleted. All AKs this round for Astralis, 5 of them on the board. Haven't seen the AWP come out on that T side just yet, and we've seen Naf with it. We saw it in the previous round. That gun's not able to be recovered, or maybe just they didn't want to recover it. Maybe they want to switch up the look of this defense. 2 SMGs, 3 rifles for Liquid. This could be that fast play towards the upper bomb side again, at least through the doors, at least down the vents.
Already downwards. Just sprinting towards this B site. No weapon in hand. Dupree already in the depths of control room. I mean, Alige is wary of the potential for there to be a player here. Unfortunately, Dupree runs into a bit of a wall here, rather a window.
Well, Alige has a lot of question marks. Does he clear out vents? Where is he going to go? And he is going to clear out vents, but he's from the wrong way! No. And he somehow still wins it, but he might not have any idea Dupree's down here as well.
That is the second time in back-to-back, or 3 rounds now, where Alige just is in this crazy 180 type moment.
Yeah, but he's going to get flanked out. Like I said, no idea Dupree is here. He's never going to consider this as a point of danger. He's going to go down for free. Oof. Dupree hunting it down. Alige still not considered it.
There you go. There's the secret stairs. This is going to enable the cross. Nafly's not holding it. They don't have that AWP in play. They're still limited by the double MP9. So, Bomb heads downstairs. Dupree still on the forefront of this push, but he's caught with utility. This time, Stewie's not caught off guard. It's the other way around. And the entirety of Astralis is still on this site. Bomb drop. They're stuck in the molly. Look at all that damage coming from the flames. Stewie's lucky to be alive, and Magisk wants to hunt him, but does he anticipate Twists this close? On the other side of smoke, excellent flash and even better shots. Down to the 1v2, Nitro's denied, and Astralis take their third.
Again, even on that rotation, even with Stewie getting a double kill, they don't have any presence inside the bomb site, so Astralis is able to apply so much pressure. This is a great find from Alige, obviously. Stewie's the play that I think is going to win it, but he tried to make that same slow play that got him punished earlier. This time it worked perfectly, but you were right. The damage was just too much. They could never get involved in the action. A third round, and this is where you see that lead. It's going to disappear so quickly. 1 Deagle, 1 CZ on Nitro. They don't have anything to fight with. All the money's been taken out of their hands over these past few rounds, and Astralis is going to be right back into this game.
Stewie looking to make magic happen with the Deag. Way too many bodies for him to control. I mean, Magisk has already crossed out. He's not aware of it. Here's the footstep, sure, but hey, 1 is not bad. Even Twist adds a second to the tally off his USP. That was a fast lobby flank.
Yeah, but the question, again, Astralis has already gotten downstairs. They're already going into the bomb site, so Nitro and Alige coming through vents, they're going to be able to buddy up on these doors, but how much can they actually do? Dupree coming down the control stairs. Nitro needs to hard clear this, and he does. Now he's got a rifle, and they have no idea. Attention's been taken away from Twist position.
Zipex, though, he's just tucked himself back into the darkest corner he could find. He hides in the depths like a swamp monster, waits to strike. Nitro, sure, he's got his paws on a AK as well. That's 2 rifles retrieved, but slowly and surely, meticulously they work. Astralis bounce right back into the round. Just when you think things are too much to topple, they go ahead and claw their way back into it.
Well, it's brilliant. I mean, you could see Zipnix in that corner not even exposing himself, and he's just perfect. He's relying on device, but he's just relaying the information the whole time, hearing the footsteps, how many players are there, where exactly he is. So device feels supremely confident in turning that corner to take the fight. And then eventually, Twist has made his way into the bomb site, but he has no information whatsoever about anyone, about Zip's position. 6-4, 2-round lead, but a 2-round run for Astralis.
Elige looking to get aggressive outside again. That flash could work, but they turn slightly. Still, it's enough for one. However, at the same time, we've got Squeaky Door blown open, smoke in front of it. Magisk can drop vent, and this has been something Astralis have punished Liquid with already. How many times are they going to slip through?
I was going to say, it doesn't even matter actually at this point if Astralis wins that battle outside, because Elige and Naf have done a good job with that, but Astralis has been able to get so many players down vent so consistently without any kind of information. So yeah, you're holding on to the outer yard, but there's a huge gap towards that upper bomb site, and Stewie, he might just get trucked.
Magisk is going to clear the closer of the corners. Still nothing seen. Stewie looking very wary, hoping Astralis make their move. But you said it earlier, right? Once Astralis kind of cools off, once they get quiet, you know they're still up to something. It's not like they're just sitting and waiting entirely. They always have a move to make.
Well, they're also cutting off all the rotations. One player watching vents, they have 3 players in the bomb site. If you're Liquid, you know they're in this bomb site, but how do you actually get here to defend against anything? Smoke goes up on the choke point, 17 seconds of delay at the same time the bomb goes down. That's going to chew so much time off of it for the defuse.
They'll attempt to get out, and the first man falls. Once that smoke begins to fade, it's replaced with a Molotov on the other side, so Nafly is convinced to just retreat.
Those vent drops, it's getting them way too much control without having to use a whole lot of utility. At least if you're forcing them to use utility and attack that outer part of the map, and if they're going to get down secret stairs, they have to expend all those smokes and Molotovs to be able to cross safely, all those flashbangs. Now they have all those for the post plant. And Liquid just gets locked onto the bomb site again.
For sure. And I mean, you saw it. That moment where Astralis just completely falls silent and continue to creep down secret stairs. You said, cutting off all the rotations, getting that map control, getting 3 players into the bomb site. Team Liquid made no proactive play.
Well, here's the thing if you're Liquid, is if they get down vents like that and they have that control, when Stewie gets surprised by Magus, he's calling out. Like they know how Astralis got downstairs. They know it's through vents. So if you're a defender and you have to choose where to rotate, you know there's going to be someone lying in wait. You know that's a disadvantage every fight that you're going to find in that vent. So why even mess with it? But the problem is all the other choke points are locked off as well. They need to be able to do a better job of preventing that vent play from Astralis, and they need to do a better job of getting players into that lower bomb site if it's under attack.
2 rifles. That's what they kept from the last round. Grandfathered forward. 1 on Naf, 1 on Nitro. There was some early utility as well from Team Liquid here, just meant to couple with these rifles, just meant to slow them down on ramp. Door already blown open. Nafly hunts above.
You can just see while Glaive is spamming, Dupree is waiting for this play from Naf. He's hoping that Naf drops down and tries to go for something creative. It's not happened just yet.
Do it. Naf holds off for now. Another smoke to get the second rifle out of the mix, and there you have it. Nafly falls immediately. Elige cleared from outdoors, draws Nitro back, and that's both guns down. That's the round. That's Astralis tying this up for 6, most certainly. Poor Twists pinned into the back of the site will add 1 Deagle kill to the tally, but that's all she wrote. As we said, 6 apiece.
What a great round from Astralis, just applying pressure at Squeaky Door and waiting for someone to kind of come try and find some success, some kind of information, and they find it in Naf. 6-6, timeout taken from Liquid. And you have to imagine after the year that these two teams have had going up against each other, Liquid is going to be used to this. Going to be used to having that little hope of a bit of a lead and then having it ripped out of their hands slowly but surely. This has to be something that they were prepared for.
Listen, man, I've been right there with them. I feel the same
We
defeat.
all have. We've all been Team Liquid this year.
Back on top. Astralis, I mean, you know, this is what we've come to expect. We've come to expect 3-map series. We've come to expect nuke victories for them. It's consistent.
13 kills on Elige, 13 and 8. He's leading the way for Team Liquid and indeed leading the way for the entire server. Dupree at 11 kills for Astralis is top fragging for them in this tied up affair. Round 13 coming in. Utility going to be used outside, setting up that smoke wall.
AWP will see nothing. A smidgen of a gap, perhaps. They'll silently cross by. This time there's no Naf tucked in close. It's just Elige back on the control stairs. He's already thrown out his smoke, so not even waiting to see T presence. Preemptive. Molotov as well, hits the mark. But that's okay, Astralis will wait. The same way they didn't sweat when they lost their early lead. near non-existent nades here from Team Liquid already, but they're just gonna try to hold the ground. Sheer aim may not be enough. Stewie, good damage on that second, but it's Nafly to keep it even at 3.
And well, at least they had the presence at this lower site this time. They've thinned it out. 3-on-3 scenario, but still that lurk outside. Zip might be able to get into action as Nitro clears things out. This is going to be a long rotation. They've always chosen, they've never wanted to mess with vents when they've had to rotate downstairs. All 3 players coming from ramp room. Dupree, Zip, and Device to defend against it.
Dupree, you'll see a shoulder. Ooh, replaced by a head. Twists denied and a second kill. So clean. Dupree wiping the floor with that Krieg. Smoke and a flash goes out. Naf doesn't have the cover, and he knows this cannon's valuable, so he will just fall off. He got 2 kills in the round, but nothing more. This is Astralis taking the lead.
Yeah, this is now 5 rounds in a row for Astralis. They have completely figured out this Liquid defense, and on the other hand, even with the timeout, Liquid have not been able to figure out how to hold on to this lower bomb site. It's been a weakness this whole time. I don't actually think Astralis has won a gun round in the upper bomb site. They've just been punishing lower over and over, whether it's outside, whether it's down the vents. Actually, excuse me, Liquid's done a pretty good job outside. It's down the vents that's been the real pain in this defense.
That's very true. We've seen Elige get aggressive at times. We've seen Naf be able to cull numbers from the cross. What's the answer? We've seen players close downstairs, but nobody actually invents for Team Liquid if they wanted to hold it from beneath.
Ooh, hello.
Goodbye.
It's a great shot from Elige to start things out. He's found Device. 2 players for Astralis pressuring ramp room. That's where Stewie's got the op, and when Stewie switches into the op, he's had enough. Great shot from Naf at the other angle. Stewie's gonna back off as the flames also creep out. And Astralis, a 3 versus 5. They're spread across the map. Dupree's gonna join up with Zip. Ooh, it's a scout, excuse me, not the op on Stewie. But he's got a tap.
It's 2 of the remaining 3 members of Astralis. Or at least what was. Zipex does get toppled by Stewie in the end here, but what they don't know is where's Magus got off to. He still holds 100 health, and the 1-tap dirt nap versus Elige in a 1v5 attempt.
Shouldn't be able to do too much. Even economic damage at this stage in the game isn't a huge deal. Stewie puts him down before anything can begin. All tied up again, 7-7. And going into round 15, we're going to decide who takes a lead going into halftime.
That's big. I mean, they came into that with 1 op, 1 scout, and a deagle. And it wasn't even the op that got more than 1. It was really the scout from Stewie and this opening frag from Elige just completely cut off their outer control. We saw Magus creep out there afterwards, but he got nothing further. The timing never playing to his favor.
This almost just feels like Astralis is trying to maybe outcall a defensive swap where they just avoid the vents this time around. I have to imagine they'll go back to it this round. Naf misses a chance, but he's at least alive, and he's got to be happy with that one.
That's a dangerous cross. He just runs to secret stairs in front of them. And while Elige will catch Glaive, there are still bodies here for the tease. Oh, he didn't hear him. Elige didn't turn around fast enough, doesn't deny Dupree any further map control, and look at him go. Already getting to the cusp of hell, where Stewie shuts him down, but now he knows he's foregone this ramp. Luckily, Nitro holds the map control elsewhere, and bomb's not on the back of the 2 Ts who do head over towards this side of the map.
And again, another good call from Stewie as well. Doesn't need to take that fight. 4-on-2. And just backing away when you realize they've already got the angle on you. Naf with the op, gonna hold downstairs, sees the shoulder. Good baited shot from Zip. But again, with no teammate, and the bomb actually dropped all the way towards Red Box, towards T-Spawn. Astralis has a lot of time. Zip has a lot of time to hold onto this bomb site, and then how do you get Device there without anybody to help him?
Yeah, let's see. Well, Nitro playing outdoors. Naf still down on B. Like you said, Zip all the time in the world. Not being watched on the cross, I don't think. Stewie, his attention turned between hell and outside. There's timing. And Device has actually found that just minute moment where he could actually cross for free. Then the next question is, how does he get into the site? Control doors closed. Nafly here, in position, distracted by Zipex. Zipex now starting to fluster him, create a ruckus, look to start the rumble, doors open, and bombs over on site. Now there it is. One opening that should never happen, but it's all shut down by Nitro, as it should have been in the 4v2. Liquid with a lead, but a minimal one at that, 8-7.
They had a really, really tough stretch in the middle of that, but I mean, the 2 rounds right at the end is a beautiful thing. So that's not a bad half. It's just some real big deficiency in that vent defense. That was really, really brutal for them. Either way, we're gonna head to a break. We're gonna find out who's gonna take this map when we return. Welcome back to Blast Pro Series Global Finals in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Team Liquid taking on Astralis, this opening map of Nuke in this series. And Liquid takes an 8-7 lead to start off the second half. But it has been a grueling affair. They had a lot of pressure put on them by that Astralis offense.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, we got to give Liquid some credit here. They've doubled up the CT rounds they got in comparison to the last time they found themselves on Nuke. So that's something. But by, the skin of their teeth at times, Astralis certainly looked composed throughout it all.
They found a weakness and they really leaned on it. That was huge. That 5-round stretch that they had right in the middle of that half, a lot of that, or towards the end of that half, I should say, was all based off getting downstairs through vents, and Liquid never had an answer for that. They're actually, it feels like they're very fortunate to get away with these 8 rounds.
Yeah.
They might have just been stuck on 6.
No, I mean, they went, the force buy in the 3rd round with just pistols, and one of the 2 closing when they had that scout with Stewie on ramp. Like, those are 2 anomalies, really, that could have very easily gone the other way. Wouldn't have given Liquid as good of buys. So, you're right. There is a world where this is still 4 rounds. But it's not. It's 8 as we start the second pistol. 1 round separates this. Team Liquid, who have never been able to really best them here on Nuke, will try.
Even Naf expressing lack of confidence in an interview with HLTV on this map against Astralis. So, that's a good early damage. And Device still going to stick around for the fight. He takes some in return. It's traded right back. 4 HP on Device, 2 on Stewie, but Glaive, he can see the shadow, he can see the barrel, and he's gonna fall away. Device has just saved his life.
Glaive still up, still in the mix. So much damage done by From Dice Outdoors that they just clean sweep pistol. They couldn't even best Device, who's on 4 health.
I mean, that was so close to Team Liquid turning that corner and just steamrolling that entire defense, but what brilliant peeking from Device to give Glaive the time to fall back into the site. Dupree as well with the timely kill, and Glaive just gets into enough cover, and it felt like Team Liquid just a half second off on all these attacks that looked like they were going to be successful. 8-8.
Damn.
Start the first half, we had those traded rounds back and forth for the first 3. We'll see if, Liquid not investing anything into this second round at all.
Oh, and let's contrast these vent drops.
Yeah, we'll have
not
to
quite as successful.
Well, this one, we'll give him a break. There's fire, there's no armor, there's SMGs, but Dupree, he's going hunting for money. Twist is going to drop down behind. He's already been spotted. He's going to go down. 9-8. Astralis take a lead.
That's 5 alive in both pistol and conversion. Those SMGs also fed the frags. No upgrades needed even. Astralis will be content to start their CT side in such a position, but here's the buy up from Team Liquid. Like you said, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt in the last round. I'm curious to see whether they try the hot drops or
it's the least we can do.
If they've got something else to work with. What's the game plan, boys?
Elige heading outside. Nitro and Twist with these smokes to help him gain control. There's the second smoke, but there's a massive, massive gap in that. And Elige, he doesn't have another one to plug the hole, so he might just have to duel right between that, but that'll give Glaive an advantage, who backs off from that fight. He's got Magisk on the high ground to help him out.
Yep, that's information. They know nobody's gone for the cross. Even Elige, it's kind of harder to make his play. Molly down towards ramp. Good timing on it. They're going to go ahead and extinguish the threat, but Zipek still resides down at the base of ramp. Magisk drawn into the fight and unsuccessful in picking up a kill. Sure, he takes Stewie down to 44, but that's Team Liquid 5v4.
Yeah, but they don't have a lot of utility. In fact, all they have is the one Molotov. That might have been miscommunication between Magisk and Zip on the defense. Magisk overcommitted for how much Zipnix was falling back. But with no nades, I don't think there's a clear plan of action for Team Liquid. They've got to rely on Elige being able to pinch into this upper bomb site, and they have to rely on the fact that they can have multiple different angles to attack this site.
Yeah, Glaive, he's back behind site.
Look at Stewie.
Is open. Deep hell control from Stu, too. He's just watching for the B to A player, but no way. Dupree cuts off bomb. Glaive's back turns one thing, and there's Naf with a wallbang frag to open up the A site. A little bit of damage control. Zipek sent back, sending down the vent. Device is going to catch a player on cross. Naf, that is dangerous. Dodges the grenade and gets back towards lobby, but he's lost his teammate in Stu. Does he come back in for this fight? If he does, Device is ready. Nafly's just going to crawl his way out here, clearing the corners around, and Device not ready for it. He thought he was going all the way back through hut, and Naf with that smug smile.
Yeah, Naf called his bluff a little bit coming back in towards door, saying, surely you think I'm wrapping all the way around to buddy up with Stewie over towards the hut entrance. What a round from Naf. These are the things that Astralis does that just make you scratch your head. The SMG should not be able to double up a door in that fashion. Liquid with some very weak trading in that regard. But still, I mean, it's just such a grind to get into these bomb sites. That's a costly win for the Liquid offense to start things out.
Especially when you still had two SMGs kept forward from the last round, and the fact that Astralis had so much cash. There's the vent drop. Stewie at 32 HP. They didn't even use a smoke.
Look at Elige again. He's actually, you want to talk about calling a bluff, he's just walked through the smoke wall outside, and he's going to get punished for it. Trying to go all the way around, and it was not to be. Device had just come back with the op.
He tries to make that play with a UMP.
Bold.
Very.
Zip is downstairs, Device in ramp room with the op. He's going to gain a lot of information. Stewie is in the vents, but again, so much control for Astralis. Glaive is pushed into T lobby. Device is in, or Dupree's in the hut. Device is in ramp room. So now Astralis has, they know exactly what's coming. They know it's going to be in the lower bomb site. Device is going to creep closer down the ramp to help Zip. They've got a crossfire setup that is going to be just brutal.
Yeah, they just hope that Team Liquid walks into this. And I mean, there's no silence being used. Team Liquid just stomping, making it very clear what they're up to. And Stewie gets dropped by the op a second from Device. More shots coming out of control, and he's gonna nail a third. Just ripping them apart and giving them nothing. Nitro gets into the mix in the end, but so be it. You're alone now. You upgrade into a FAMAS, and this B site's just possessed by Astralis. They're in control. They've got your bomb. They're amidst the corpses. Look at the lineup of bodies here of Liquid.
That's an ace for Device as well with the op. The re-peeks towards control. That's something that's usually not allowed, but every time he peeks, the player from Liquid has a nade in his hand. Not prepared for the fight. What a beautiful round for, I mean, you have to say, beautiful round for Device, but he's able to do this, these 4 kills, because of the information gathered from Glaive taking control of lobby, because he's flanking outside, because Dupree is in the hut. They know everything about Liquid's positioning. And yeah, that says it all. Yeah. Smug smile of the last round, head in the hands this round. They were outplayed in so many ways.
They find themselves relegated to pistols. We were tied at 9, but it's double digits for Astralis. First heads presented to Device, and he's going to get his tapped. To 13 health, he falls, but he's got support in Glaive, and Glaive's got cover too. Magisk even wants to get into the mix. We talked about feeding those SMGs well, and he's looking hungry.
Stewie and Nitro, still a chance here, 2-on-3. Especially if they can find Magisk. If he wants to go for a few more of those kills, they might be able to pick him off. They're being patient, letting the defense reconsider and reposition on the map.
There's no shame in slowing it down.
Vegas is still being aggressive, though, so he's going to have intel, especially now. And that is a nice backflip. 10 out of 10 for Stewie.
Yeah, didn't quite stick the landing. Nitro giving chances on the Deagle. Doing the damage and doing the deed. Ooh, how about another? Dupree now up at bat, anticipated and naded. Zipex gets it done.
2-round lead for Astralis. But it feels like they're going to start picking up momentum here. This defense has seemed solid. Just one round hiccup that came into a one-on-one, but that was with SMGs. Ever since then, they've looked great. They've had all the reads, they've had all the right rotations. Liquid going to call a timeout before this buy comes in. Nitro's already invested, and they will buy around it, but they've got to call a tactic first.
21-12 in Dupree here, leading the side of Astralis.
Individually, it feels like Liquid is matching up just fine.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like there's anyone, going too crazy on Astralis. There's been no insane clutches out of Zip in this game. There's been one really nice round from Device with the AWP, but it's more tactically that Astralis is just outplaying them, outworking them across this map.
And I'd say timings, too, have gone to the way of Astralis. I can at least 5 kills in this game have been because Liquid are holding nades. And 3 of them in one round alone, but it's happened throughout both halves. So Astralis just on point. As per usual.
As per usual. No one's surprised by that one. Round 21. Smokes being used. Elysian, Stewie leading the way outside. Magus is going to get aggressive, though. He's going to be right inside that smoke. He's going to do Elysian's play against him, and he's going to come out on top. Oh, no, he's not. But so much damage done to 2 players. Elysian on 1, Stewie on 12.
187 damage and no kill. That is, that is a robbery. Elise just tucked into the corner there to survive. So sure, they've got the 5v4, but at what cost? Even in terms of utility, single smoke left up here for Liquid. They've got the mollies if needed, flashbangs for an outer hit or upper hit.
Problem is, Stewie can't really do a whole lot to apply pressure and down secret stairs. He has control, but there's nothing he can do with that low of health. And now Device is getting into position again. It's a perfect read. Great damage on a Nitro. And Dupree is just going to double, maybe triple, but no. Naf shuts him down very quickly. And Device just trying to spam, trying to take attention away. And he knows the flank is coming in. Zip is going to bail him out of a tough spot. But Astralis are going to have a retake.
Bomb down in the back of the site. Glaive back behind them even, but caught by Twists. Good thing he goes back to check lobby. They're very wary of a heaven play, but there's nobody there just yet. Oh man, Device, if he thinks he's going to walk all the way around through lobby.
No, they're going to.
Retake's not going to happen.
No, they're going to call this one off. They've already just called it very early on, and not a bad. You can't blame them whatsoever. Preserve the economy, which is already pretty battered as it is for Astralis on the CT side. So Liquid able to get away with one considering all the damage done by Magus early on, and you could see how close the margins were. If Magus gets even just one of those kills, that might not be around.
Yeah, and a nice touch is Naf's able to trade to the player on Hut immediately. Ooh. We talked about maybe that's 2, maybe that's 3, but all the players who still had health were the players that made contact through Squeaky. What was left of Liquid went all in, and they were able to trade. Device, good attempt with the blind shots, good attempt to keep the pressure off of anybody else, but even when Zipex helped him out, he wasn't able to get back into the mix. And this is just incredible. That could have so easily been Magus with an easy 5v3.
Yeah, it really could have been. And even at the end, this kill right here, I think Device fell asleep at the wheel. We saw it from his POV. It looked like he was maybe having a conversation, maybe looking over to communicate with the teammate as the round came to a close. And Alicia's able to take that AWP out of his hands. That's actually a big kill to find. Astralis, it looks like they might go ahead and force up around this with one AK-47, but they would have loved to have had that AWP. That would have made this force so much more dangerous.
Big time. Play the money, chuck a gun over to an armored player, and you've got 3 hard hitters. Instead, they'll find themselves with just 1.
11-10. This is the best chance Liquid has it. Not only tying things up, but slingshotting that into some kind of a lead. Surely if Astralis loses this and aren't able to recover any kind of guns, they would be at a massive disadvantage.
Let's see. This is it. This is Liquid with another chance to close that gap. Cut it down to 1. We talked about the lopsided results of the matches, but in terms of score, keeping it close, Team Liquid. Closer than it has been as of late. Oof, and Stewie gets the wall bang immediately. Elysia adds 1 to the tally, 2. 5 versus 3 straight out the gates. The single AK into the mix, however, and it is in the hands of Zipex.
think this is the second round in a row now that Stewie's had to play with 3 HP from the start. At least this time he's got a kill for his troubles. Elige and Zip just narrowly missing each other, but he might get a free one here. He spots that out, going towards the vent, either in the corner or inside the vent, but there's a time limit because Device surely going to be able to find Elige, and he does. Headshot there, but Liquid's already evacuated through the door. No one to stop them, and into the site we go, but Astralis can fight for this.
Yep. Astralis, they had gone 2 players down vents. dupreeh was caught, Zipex slipped in silently.
There's a chance. Astralis can either go for this or they can call for a save, and neither one of those, you couldn't argue too much with either call and just say, let's use these guns in the next round. Yeah, we're going to let them tie it up, but those 2 AK-47s would be massive. If they're to lose this round, if they go for it and lose everything, next round's going to be brutal. So Astralis making another economic decision here to play this passively, to let Liquid tie things up, and to have a buy in the next round.
Astralis playing smart. I, for one, not shocked. Letting this one slip through and knowing that they've done enough. Stewie, he's going to be all right. No worries. 11 apiece. 11 rounds apiece. Close as can be. And this gets interesting now. Team Liquid, we're talking a successful T-side. I mean, it was very much a glaring issue on the defense. Vent was so consistently abused. We've swapped over, and I can't see an issue as of yet. There's no obvious problem as they rack up these rounds.
I think the real crazy thing is they've been able to win these past 2 with 2 players. 2 rounds ago they had 2 players down below 5 health. Last round was Stewie down at 3 HP. So they've been able to pull a couple away despite some early damage. Astralis has been doing a pretty good job, and Twist here going to get Liquid start on the right foot. Opening kill, and Astralis doesn't invest around the 2 saved AK-47s. They wanted to see what those weapons could find in the round, and so far the answer is nothing, which is a problem for this Astralis defense.
dupreeh would love to get into the mix from secret stairs, and there was a molly that blocked him off, so it gives Zipex a chance to get in. To the duel. That weapon drop could very well be retrieved.
Yeah, dupreeh, you might as well just get aggressive and go for it, and he has indeed. He's found the AK-47, and I think they have the read that this is going to be a lower bomb site hit. You can see the dots all rotating over. Zip is here. He can stall things out. There's dupreeh in control in the windows. That's 1 kill. Massive damage again to Stewie, and Zip going to come through the smoke, getting aggressive. Another kill, another 2 for dupreeh. He's finally shut down, but he's done it.
Wild, just absolutely wild. Did they get that 1 kill outdoors, that 1 weapon given over into the paws of dupreeh, and then he just wrecks face down on the B site. This frag from Zipex opens up a world of opportunity for this man. dupreeh on the cross, back in on doors, 3 kills for him with a picked up AK. So we talked about those rounds that shouldn't have been for Liquid. Well, there's one back on the side of Astralis, and it nets them a half buy on the other side.
We also talked about keeping an eye on if Astralis to be able to hold on to vents. At least this time you're seeing the defense able to get into that lower bomb site. Quick action in this round. Stewie's down vents. But all he can do now with 15 HP, he's played most of this half with like no health.
Yeah, he's been one-shot the entire time.
All he can really do here is look for the flank and hope that his teammates are able to get a kill. He actually comes up, he hears the reload. That's a great call and a great save from Magisk.
Yeah, 15 health, just go for it. But Zipex is going to be caught with a nade in hand. He retreats and still pops the bottle. They're going to go ahead and charge through it. Bomb thrown into the open. Zipex just making mincemeat of this push. Glaive is here to support, and like you said, the rotations. Everybody getting down into the site. This time, sure enough, versus an all-in pistol. But regardless,
that's the big difference, is when this lower bomb site is under attack, you could see Liquid, they're having to fight people at the doors, fight people at the silo, fight people at the ramp. When Astralis is able to get downstairs in the first half, they're fighting people in that hall. They're not even actually in the bomb site whatsoever, so it's much easier. They're blocked off by utility. It's a very narrow choke point to aim at, to pre-aim at. And that's what's making this so difficult for Liquid to get control of the lower site. 13-11 for Astralis. They've regained control. Just a small 2-round hiccup. 3 rounds away from taking map 1.
Yeah, 11 to Astralis, 9 to Liquid, turn back 11 all, then 2-round lead established right thereafter. So, back and forth we go. Another pause called as it comes to a close. At least we're back in with a buy. It's limited, double Galil.
Yeah, but they got a Krieg. Although it's in Stewie's hands, so chances are he'll be put down about 5 health in the first 30 seconds. Here we go. No AWPs on the field of play either. Again towards outside with Elysian and Stewie working together. So many smokes used early on in this round, and surely they saw Stewie jumping across. And again, as we mentioned, Stewie just having a rough half with his HP.
That's 4 or 5 rounds in a row now. In the first 30 seconds, he's toasted. But at least he is downstairs. Doesn't decide to venture much further. CT rotations are not preemptive. They're just going to hold what they have.
They're keeping everyone up this time, even though one is crossed. They're keeping everyone upstairs. No one's dropped into that lower bomb site just yet. So this is another huge read from Astralis, knowing exactly what's coming. And Liquid, if they try and adjust and kind of pinch towards this upper bomb site, there's a lot of bodies here to shut this down.
They hold. They're calling Stewie's bluff. I mean, he could be anywhere at this point. But he hasn't ventured further in Secret itself.
Dupree has no smoke. If they throw a Molotov into this position, and Naf has one, he's going to be forced into the open. We'll see if that comes to fruition, but we'll see it frequently. Glaive's going to have a fast rotation up the ladder, but he needs Dupree and Megas to get 1 or 2 kills to delay things.
And Elige at any point could wrap around through Mini here. Magis just holds it from the back of the bomb site. There's basically 3 members on A. Crossfire here between these two. And Heaven on top of it. Flash and no Molly. They opt not to clear Dupree, and now he's going to go huge. Dropping 2. Device into the mix as well, and they're cleared. The kill feed full of frags from Astralis. I mean, you just said it. If they molly him out, he is done for, and they could have. The timing was there for it. Instead, they just throw a flash. It's like they thought about it. But
that was a really ugly execute. They had everything. They had the setup perfectly. The setup itself of the round was beautiful.
What is this front side molly supposed to do?
I am not entirely sure. But I mean, you had so many times, you had such a long period of that round where that setup was ready to go. All Naf has to do is throw that Molotov, and maybe that Molotov is designed to go elsewhere, but not clearing that out is just so brutal. 1 flash at 18 seconds left, and now an upper rush into a nade, into a Molotov. 2 players burn, and this is going to be an easy one for Astralis. They're going to be on 15 with 4 chances to close out this opening map.
Yeah, they've had enough. This is the closing portion of map 1, most certainly. Astralis just easily getting through these last couple of rounds. I feel like that execute on the A site, the one that they fumbled when they didn't clear back vent, that was really their last chance back into this match. Unless they're going to fight out of OT.
Well, we'll see. Krieg's coming in. AKs as well. Plenty of utility for Liquid to use, but as you said, this is like the last chance. They've got to go on a 4-round run, force it into overtime. And they have not had a whole lot of consistent success. Molotov's outside, smoke being put up, but Device, that position, he'll be able to gather information. He hears no footsteps.
And 11 rounds is so frequently the threshold that Astralis can't surpass. Yeesh, Device comes back through smoke and trades. This leaves the entirety of Liquid over here towards Ram. Zipex doesn't know what he's up against, and he's maybe not going to get all that info. 4 bodies dropping down towards B as fast as their feet can take them. Device into control, hits that immediate headshot. Stewie is able to trade one, so now they do have a bit more space to work with, but Decon swung wide and Magic denied. The plant is theirs. Dupree in for the clutch 1v3.
I wonder if he goes for this. They have a lot of money, so they can handle it if he does and he loses. Clock ticking down. Great positions from Liquid as well. He might just get into a fight and just back away. Win or lose, I mean, if he doesn't win this, he might just back off. And indeed, even with winning it, he doesn't want anything to do with the rest. He knows there's just way too many spots to clear out. So just adding 1 more kill onto things, it's going to be 15-12. Back towards ramp room to help Zip.
Even though Device plugged it, immediately traded that outer kill. Even then, they didn't let off the gas pedal towards ramp, and I think that's really what got them, just sheer tenacity down to that B site. Take a second to appreciate what we've seen. 29 and 14 from Dupree.
he is one of those players where I didn't even realize he was at 29 kills. You just
yeah, we talked about it. We said, like, you know, there's no big standout performance, and then all of a sudden he's one frag off.
Well,
30.
that was the thing. There wasn't in the first half. This has been like a quiet, very quiet 29 kills, if there is such a thing. Nitro brought low, so is Glaive.
Locking horns through mini. Neither ram falls. Glaive just wants to safely tuck himself back away, cover. Play a buddy system. Play contact. Set Zipex up to succeed. You can see Zipex playing anti-flash in ramp room now. Glaive's just going to be that information machine. Seeing as they went for that burst last round, it makes sense. Tuck him away. Off in the mix. Smoke and a flash in his face. Elysian Device dance outdoors yet again.
Device going to appear under the smoke as well. Again, just a little bit of information that he can gather. Good nade. A little bit of damage on his Stewie. There's 2 players here. Astralis.
Round of an improvement. They've pushed it to 12, but still they can't surpass it, and as expected, they fall. Hey, this was Nuke. This was meant to be a Astralis from the get-go.
I actually think it was a pretty good showing, all things considered. Was that vent? It was just constantly so frequently, and Liquid never either having the information, never being able to get people get downstairs in that lower bomb site often enough. That was just a little bit brutal, even with a pretty even head-to-head matchup.
And a couple fumbled rounds as well in the second half. When Dupree's able to get his paws on that AK outdoors and moves it down to lower, gets a 4K or 3 in the round, it just kind of, it all started to unravel there as Astralis seemed to. They pull the strings and they pick up their map pick, but you know, we've got map 2 coming up next, so.
Yeah, that's going to be great. That's going to be awesome. We'll see you there.
Nice, David!
Future where all of your devices
there we have it.
Connect.
Once again, there we have it.
This belief drove the design of our new wireless AirPods.
It really does seem like that is their home turf. Anybody who's going up against them, they're in for a rough time. And well, it proved to be the same case here for Liquid. still not quite figuring out how to beat the Danes.
They gave them a fight, though.
Yeah,
I think it was a relatively close game. Looking by some of the statistics, we can conclude that Liquid won the opening duels 18-10 in that sense. Still going down 16-12. That's, quite the story in itself. They had a lot of good openings in the game. They had a lot of, good ideas of how they wanted to approach the game, I felt. They came down to a few, came down to some heroics from Dupree, to be completely honest, as well, for Astralis to get that lead. But overall, I felt Astralis, again, they do what Astralis does the best. They work as a foundation. They work as a team. You even said it in the green room. Damn, they're so good. Whenever they win around, everyone chiming in at a certain point. Everyone has a role to play within it. Whatever that's with utility, whatever that's with the frags. Everyone does the job, and I think there was a great showcase of Astralis, not even playing their best, but still able to win.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there is one big or striking difference in that CT side of both teams, right? On one hand, you have Liquid, which is basically individuals taking the initiative, being very aggressive. We're talking about Elish fighting them time and time again outside, Naf trying to do the difference. Whereas Astralis, it just feels like they're going through the motion. That's the plan. Relax, guys. We know what's going to happen. This one is going to rotate down. I'm going to take your place here, tag you. I take your position. We got it. Whereas Liquid, they're running everywhere. They're playing whack-a-mole. Astralis, they're abusing the Van Dive again and again, and when they're not, they're going through secret, and Liquid are just running around trying to kill people, and Elish is doing great at that. But tactically speaking, Astralis are just one step ahead, and there's nothing they can do about it.
That is really what it feels like watching Astralis. They play such perfect CS. It looks effortless. It looks like everything just flows one step into another. And, well, we had that from the greatest legend, earlier as well. Forrest just speaking on Astralis, saying that it just feels insurmountable. When you're up against them, there's no weakness to exploit. It's just one machine.
And the attribute he gave to that was the communication coming out from Astralis. And it's always fun for me, at least as a Dane, to stand by and listen to how they communicate. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to hear that everyone is synchronized. Everyone knows what each other is doing. Sometimes there's, not a lot of communication going on within the Astralis camp because it's not needed. And whenever things start to heat up, whenever, a certain position gets played out or a certain thing happens on the map, you can just hear the communication picks up and it never gets to a stressed point, right? Even in the most tense moments, they still keep their cool, they still rotate around, they still play as a unit. Something a lot of teams right now are struggling with. Sometimes, we have these international teams, G2 is an example, Mousesports as well. Whenever it gets really, really tense, you see them make some somewhat silly mistakes, but that comes down to the communication. In fact, they're stressed by it. Whereas for Astralis, it seems like it's, as you said, effortless.
So,
yeah, completely.
As far as Nuke is concerned, that is really the thing. That's why, as far as I'm concerned, they're the best team. But, we can have debates on that. Device, who's going back and forth. But as far as the results here, okay, we saw it going Astralis' way. Still possible to get a 2-0, or are we looking at 2-1?
I think we have seen enough from Liquid to believe a third map is on the cards, right? I think individually speaking, they're activated. I liked how they were trying to be aggressive and take the game into their own hands. I think you need to do that when you're playing against Astralis. You cannot allow the Danes to control the pace, to control what they're doing. That's not going to work. You have to take the plans throwing out the window and make it a messy, make it a fight, make it a brawl. That's what Liquid tried to do. Granted, Nuke is not the best map to do so, right? Inferno, I think, is a little bit better, but it is still a problem because the whole year when Astralis was winning everything, what happened was that people used to ban Nuke all the time, so Astralis had to play Inferno. And they rocked that 100% win rate for a long, long time. So we're going on a known territory for Astralis by a very large margin.
There's two things that worries me a little bit about Liquid coming into Inferno. One of them being Stu2K not really showing up on Nuke. Normally it's been his worst statistical map for Liquid over the years. He doesn't really seem comfortable on it for whatever reason. He's playing the ramp role and he doesn't get the opening frags that normally he would get. Now coming into Inferno, he's going to be instrumental for Team Liquid. Him on Banana being aggressive both on the CT side but also on the T side, that needs to work out. He needs to put some pressure on Astralis if they want to be successful on Inferno. Another thing though, Elish having a great game here in terms of opening duels. He went 9 for 11. That's great to see from him. Somebody got to pick it up from Stu2K. So Elish playing well and Stu2K playing well, I think that's going to be enough for Liquid to pull them over the finish line and at least make it competitive. If not, then I think Astralis is going to run away with it.
Well, we're going to find out what one of the key players for Astralis is thinking about it because we have an interview ready with Device.
Go. Device, I want to ask you about the first half of Nuke because you were able to abuse the vent quite a lot. And I want to know, was that always the game plan? Or you adapted to the fact that you quickly discovered Liquid were weak in defending it?
I mean, like, it was a mix of both things. I started off on a bad game. I'm playing the outside role, trying to figure out how they play out there on the T side. Elise was pushing every round, and that was not their normal play style. So obviously there were going to be gaps. I think Glaive just pretty quickly read that the vent was going to be quite open compared to how they play previously. Of course, they're trying to change something up because we've won nuke several times now. So yeah, we started abusing the vents, and yeah, I also got into the game a little bit. I think I had the 007, the James Bond score, so I'm glad that I just contributed a little bit.
You definitely contributed in that second half. I do want to ask about outside. Astralis, you're known for having control of outside, although early on there was a bit of a whiffed smoke. You left a hole in that secret wall that you're normally so good at achieving. Why do you think Liquid were successful in countering you out there?
I mean, like, as I said, we've won so many times against them on nuke, so why change something that works? It's always like a constant debate you have with yourself and the team, like, should we just continue doing what we're doing? Because we know they're going to adapt, right? So we kind of have to expect what they're going to adapt and try to do that, or just wait and see what happens and then adapt in game. And we just waited and saw what happened, and then, as you said yourself, like, trying to abuse the vents and everything else. And then, yeah, I think that was why they had success at the start.
All right, then, that ace, that second half, you were just constantly able to peek into the lower side and you weren't punished for it because you knew exactly where every member of Liquid was. Was that just from previous experience, or just in the moment you just knew?
I mean, like, I just re-peaked. I think it's a stressful situation when you're on the terrorist side, downside. You have to get out quickly because otherwise the CTs have the rotation power and the manpower. So I just tried to stress them, and they peeked into the orb. If they didn't peek into the orb, it just meant that my teammates had more time to rotate, and I think that we could have won the round in numerous other ways. But yeah, it was always nice to get an ace, and yeah, I mean, like, it kind of got me going, so I appreciated that moment.
You know what, 007 does sound pretty cool, but I'm glad you managed to claw your way out of that moment, Device. We're going to send you off to get ready for Inferno. Thank you for talking to me, and let's head back to the desk.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Frankie. And once again, great insightful interview there. Device giving us some key information in terms of how Astralis approached breaking down Liquid.
Yeah, there is something he said right at the beginning of that interview that really resonated with me. He said, I realized that Elige was playing aggressive, there was going to be gap. And to me, this is the Astralis effect. When you play against Astralis, you feel like you have to do the extra 10%. You have to be extra 10% more aggressive. You have to try and break the rules of Counter-Strike. Well, okay, you can try that. But there is no way in hell that your game plan is perfect if you do so, right? Not many teams can do the Broly type of Counter-Strike and not leave gaps, and that's the issue here, and that's what happened on Nuke.
All right, so now we actually get to run something for the first time today, and that is going to be Pimp with the coaches.
Ooh. So Adrian, let's talk a little bit about Elige. There's no doubt that he right now is considered to be, dare I say, one of the best players in the world. Can you try to elaborate what makes John such a well-playing player right now?
John's mind is like awesome for CS. He's a very analytical guy. He's always trying to figure out what's working for him, what's not working for him. And the things that aren't working for him, he breaks it down in a really good fashion of like, hey, why is this not working for me? So he's always trying to be analytical about himself, and I mean, that's definitely one of his really good strengths.
It's obviously a big strength that he's analytical about it. Could it also be sometimes what hurts him and holds him back?
I would say just in a little bit that would hold him back just a tiny bit, because he is so critical of himself that sometimes in a match, you might be frustrated with yourself just because, he wants to be the best and not make those mistakes because he's trying to be perfect in the game. So in that sense, maybe like a tiny bit, but like overall, that's really what made him a really good player, is just figuring out and being analytical about those mistakes.
If I were to ask you about one thing that you think John could improve in, what would that be?
I think it is that one aspect that we did mention earlier, of him being so self-critical of himself, that sometimes he'll get in his own head of like, hey, I made that mistake, and that mistake might harp on himself for a little bit too long than he really should have in that moment. Luckily, he's always doing really, really well, so not too many mistakes to be mad about.
That's cool. Coming into these finals, there's no doubt that if you guys want to win the tournament, you need John to play well. You need Elise to be in the absolute best shape. Would you say is he your most important player in that sense, like in terms of putting up frags on the server, or is it more like a joint unit as a team you have to show up?
I think it definitely is a joined unit. Like when John's showing up, obviously we're playing well, but I don't think that's like the factor that is the most important to us actually performing well. I think it comes down to the leadership within the team. and making sure that engine is rolling. And then if that engine's rolling and John's also going off, that's the key factor of us playing our A game.
You guys have been struggling a little bit as of late. It hasn't been the results you maybe would have hoped for. How's John coping with that?
That aspect of the game is tough. I think John is dealing with losses as good as you can, really. You know what I mean?
It's always tough.
Yeah, it's always tough. It's never always pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if he can end the year an MVP, I think that's just going to set him up for like a great mindset for 2020.
What about 2020? What about next year? Where does the potential end with John? Because I sense that when I was playing with him, I have no problem saying that I think he's probably the most talented player that I've ever been around. Is John a guy that you think has the mental capacity to be the best player in the world on a consistent basis?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really anything holding John back if he puts his mind to it. I think 2020 can easily be a better year for him statistically and just as a teammate. I think he's always trying to be better in game, out of game. He's always looking to improve, always putting in the hard work. So, I mean, 2020 can be another great year for John.
The beautiful city of Bahrain is where we find ourselves in this second best of three today, the opening of Blast Global Finals 2019, and somebody is getting sent down to that lower bracket today. It's either Astralis or Liquid, but it's going to have to be a three-mapper if Liquid bring this back, Jason. That Nuke game, despite it being an improvement for Liquid, was, as we expected, Astralis' pickup.
I liked what I saw, though, for the most part from Team Liquid. I like that they matched up, they kept it close the whole way down the stretch, tactically outplayed, and even with that level of outplay, it being such a narrow loss, has got to give you, not if you're Liquid, but as a Liquid fan, it gives you a little bit of hope going into Inferno, which is Liquid's map pick. But again, this is another tactical map that Astralis, you want to talk about the dominance of this team over the past 2 years. These are the two maps that they really established that on, was Inferno, was Nuke,
sure
the winning streaks on these two maps. So it's a pretty brutal route for Team Liquid. And Astralis just one step closer at the moment with that one map lead in this series.
Right, and we talk about how, Astralis have picked up the last 5 matches, how Astralis have always pushed these series to 3 maps. But let's not forget, they've really hinged on just a millimeter at times, because it's been overtime victories for Liquid. It's been 16-14s on their map picks. There is a world where Astralis could still just close this. You know, it takes a couple rounds of heroics to just change both of those previous results.
Well, absolutely, especially considering Astralis gets to start on this CT side where that, you know, the famed utility damage that Astralis can pump out is just so strong down towards Banana. Their ability to control that part of the map is huge. So another test. I mean, every map against Astralis is going to be a test for every team. So Liquid backs against the wall in this first series, trying to avoid dropping down in that lower bracket this early on in the weekend. And here we go live into the first half pistol round. Liquid going to be attacking against Astralis. And it's 5 Glocks, it's utility on Nitro. As Stewie's going to head towards Banana. It's Glaive at the top of it to challenge if they'd like, but both remaining passive for the moment.
Smoke deep, meant for the library side. This could very well enable the wraparound.
Oh yeah, this is a mid to B split. They're already making their way to CT spawn. Glaive's going to have a really tough task, but he's at least got the advantage of range, and now he knows what's coming.
He's just going to try to turtle up on sight. Oh, not even. Decides to take a fight towards Banana first, and now that confidence brims. However, Zipex is now left on his own, trying to get into cover, trying to do something to buy time here, but the rotation's so far away that surely he's doomed, and he is. 4v3 as bomb is planted, and this smoke ends up playing against the rotation for the counter-terrorists.
Yeah, that's Liquid keeping up the pressure, so the fact to take over the bomb site while that smoke is still up, it delays the retake attempt. All 3 players for Astralis coming in, and it's Device to start the early probing. No kits, no utility, and Naf boosted up. He's got a great angle, and he spots the gun barrel. He knows exactly what's coming. That's a great headshot right out of the air, and now they pounce, and now they just decimate this retake. It's Megas to see if he can get any kills on the way out, but he's not stepping forward. He's not going for it. It'll be a pistol round for Team Liquid.
I love that when it's 4v1, you see them start to burst towards Banana. He hits that one tap from Magisk, and then everybody hesitates for a second. Everybody remembers, wait. Let's not throw this pistol. So sure enough, they all just hold for a moment. Magisk decides to creep his way back towards the mid, and just like that, it's Liquid to open up with pistol.
Maze can actually upgrade to head armor for free, or not for free, but for, you know, the 250. So not as much as normally would have to. Didn't get touched in that round, so he's got head armor, he's got an SMG. It's going to be a stronger buy than maybe Liquid is expecting. And yeah, that's it's not anything you want to hang your hat on, but it's at least something for Astralis as they buy up around that as well. They have the smokes for their delay tactics. They've got the 5.7s for the close-up angles. We'll see what they can do.
Deep smoke early, no line of sight. Dupree tries to just go for the headshot, but instead loses his life. That opening frag going the way of Team Liquid. Met by a smoke. Device flexing the pistol.
Running the gauntlet. You have to admire from Liquid, though. You need to put on that early aggression. And a round like this against Astralis, you cannot let them sit back and just re-smoke these angles. So they find that one kill, they apply a little bit more pressure, force a little bit more utility out of the hands of Astralis, and a few more overextensions from Astralis as they try and get themselves back into this round. So a 5-on-3 player lead. But again, Astralis just rotating everyone into the right position. And now for Liquid, you praise the aggression early on. You have to praise the fact that they've slowed this down from here.
Sure enough. That one smoke still on Device. That's picked up from Dupree. So still trying to get their paws on all the utility they came into the round with. Flash on Glaive denies him any further movement from Arch. Maybe wanted to peek through mid, but there's 2 players close now. Oh man, finds a head turn but can't do anything about it. Last 2 CTs just bottled up on the bomb site. Device is gonna smoke himself, try to create a shroud of cover, try to set up Zipex, but it's only 1 kill here for Astralis. An unsuccessful pistol buy from them leads Liquid to the 2-0 start.
Yeah, that's what they needed. We'll see how much they can build upon it. This should be a much easier round. Maybe some light utility for Astralis, maybe a few upgraded pistols, nothing too dangerous for this Liquid offense. They've even still got the MAC-10 on Stewie, so look for him to be aggressive as always and helping to clear out Banana and helping to clear out bomb sites when they eventually do attack. Magisk has the Zeus, and we love to see that.
That we do. Play it close on Banana, perhaps. Nope. Sticks it in abs.
Stewie and Naf are all the way already going to make their way up mid. Stewie started to peek towards wrap side at 1:30. That is a timing that I doubt the defense expects, but they also probably won't care a whole lot. That's a good find. Dink from Zip and a finish off from Glaive. That's going to force Liquid to go back towards the A bomb site. They still have no idea of Magus' position. He's going to get aggressive, and that Zeus, that's way too far. The Dink is quite nice, but it's not enough. And Twist falls back towards ult mid. He knows the flank will start coming in, but even Astralis is throwing a wrinkle in this as well. Dupree and Zip going to go through the house. That'll expose Twist's flank.
Maybe looking to add some more frags to the collection here. Twist here's Dupree stomping around. So be it. You know, the one real prize here is the AK in the hands of Zipex, and he's even going to topple Nitro in the end. Ooh, a third.
This has just turned into such an expensive round for Liquid, and so many rifles on the ground. Stewie needs to find a way to get one more. He's brought down low, and Zip is just being so aggressive and such a nuisance. But now he's just called it. He said, I've done the damage. There's no point in risking this AK-47. Let's make sure I keep it for the next round, and Liquid just has to cuddle into a corner and prevent themselves from going down to either Zip or the bomb blast. So Astralis get what they can out of the round, and it's not too shabby. 3 kills and an AK-47.
Could have been way less expensive, of course, for Liquid there. It was exiting the bomb site. They lost another couple bodies. SMG's chucked to the wayside. Luckily, Stewie does get his hands back on an AK. But that was a nice one. You saw Elige get initially dinked from the player, boosted back emo. And then once he's committed to that corner, you know he wants to fall off Banana, but the Coffin player jumps back into his position and finishes it off. So USPs still pack a punch if you knock them between the eyes.
That's a frustrating death to take against USPs as well. That'll piss you off real quick. Stewie with the AWP. He's switched into this early, looking for any aggression. We know, I mean, he's not your typical Omper. He is a very big playmaking Omper. He sees the jump. He wants the peek, and maybe he didn't spot it there. He sees the elbow, and now over the top goes for one more. Just gonna keep up the aggression level. Utility from his teammates. He wants to cut off the retreat. And off angle, though, is way too difficult to deal with.
Burned into the commitment, and Glaive was so ready for it. So that Opera's been removed.
That's a lot of utility used by the defense, but they're gonna be happy with the kill they got from it.
They'll establish their 5v4. Bomb picked up by Naf, doubling back towards A, and still do two defenders here. But they'll hold. Elige maintains Banana.
It's a nasty little crossfire they have set up, especially considering Device can just take one shot and fall back into the site, take attention, and allow Magus to be effective. And this is slowed down so much due to the 4-on-5 that Dupree's even rotating over towards the A bomb site. So now there's no weakness, there's no deficiency. Dupree can watch Rap side. That was a huge gap previously that Magus had to keep his eye on. But they can be much more comfortable in their setup now. 30 seconds.
Device hasn't even moved. Ice in his veins as he holds this angle. He knows he's got Magus to help him. I don't think Naf's going to be ready for this, but ooh, Device, he forfeits his hold. After sitting there for so long, he now knows 15 seconds. He just needs to play this off like a turret. Rock him like a shotgun, but no, he's not going to connect anything, and down goes Magisk, empty-handed from pit. Oh, Naf even denying Dupree his fallback. Even if he wanted to run, if he wanted to join his teammates on this be safe, well, too bad for you.
That's sick. You're not going to have too many rounds where you're able to isolate Magus like that. One of the best pit players we have in the entire professional scene. In this round, he had no real say in what happened. Device, you mentioned it, as he sinks back into that bomb site, it's such a tough angle, and you even got to give him props for ignoring that first player that was already passed, that already swung wide on him. He knew that was such a low percentage kill, just wanted to try and add something to give his teammates a chance, and nothing works out for the defense. Despite the read, despite the positioning, Liquid going to go up 4-0 on this T side of Inferno.
Yeah, in hindsight, I'm sure he hopes, or maybe wishes, he had rather just held that angle instead. You know, I mean, he was facing Naf, and I don't think there would have been, other than maybe a flashbang well-timed, I don't think there's a way Naf picks that up. But let's recall the round, let's rewind a bit. It's still Stewie getting burned into the open on Banana. He very much wanted that opening pick. He was given a couple of chances. But a good assisting Molotov from Zipex is what gave them the 5v4. Still, Team Liquid bounced back, and that's a 4-0 spree straight out the gate.
I don't even mind that aggression from Stewie whatsoever. Even though that doesn't pan out, if they want to hit that B bomb site later on in that round, if they choose to go to A or to B instead of A, there was only one smoke on Zip. They didn't have the counter flashes, they didn't have the Molotov, so even that death did provide something to the Team Liquid offense.
It's like 2 mollies, a smoke grenade, and double flashbangs just to get Stewie.
And you need to be able to apply that pressure to Astralis to say, we're more than willing to take this battle in Banana. We're more than willing to kind of have presence there and even take some utility damage just to force you to continuously use it in the future rounds.
Sure enough. I mean, that's their thing, right? Utility down Banana. I was talking to Sliggy on the ride over here, and he was just like, imagine how horrifying it would be to have to play against that all the time. So if you let them save it, you know what Astralis can get up to when they have the comfort of grenades in their back pockets. Here we go. Ooh, extinguishing their own Molotov this time around.
Yeah, misses the mark, it happens. Deep nade gonna come in, that one's gonna land right on Elige, so they make up for it. They make up for the missed Molotov. 53 damage nade onto Elige. That's a thing of beauty, but he's still gonna step through the smoke. But still, this is a lot. 2 smokes, 3 Molotovs, and an HE grenade used by Astralis.
Whoa, he is lucky to be alive, and even then, Glaive showers Stu in a hailstorm of bullets. And Elige on a sliver of health is also taken down.
He needed an immediate headshot there. He took a lot of damage. That's a good find for Astralis. Glaive down to 15 health. He's got no nades, but Zip does. He's got to put that smoke out. The pressure of the AWP, but still a 3-on-5.
Such a nice sequence of grenades down Banana. I feel like we just painted that picture, and then boom, we get it. And with a good camera angle too. You saw Elige desperate in that corner, where the grenade finds him immediately, where the Molotov then follows.
I like this shuffle of the defense. Glaive at low HP, go over towards the A bomb site where you have 2 teammates there. Don't weaken this B side. Device is there with the not enough. He has got it the M4. There's a huge gap in that smoke.
Yeesh.
That is going to be an absolute disaster when they commit here. Flashbang as well. I don't think they have any idea. Twist, he gets blinded at the last second, and now Device is put into play. He's got 1, and Naf gonna try and do something, anything. 2 kills, a plant would be perfect.
He's got the bomb, he's got the smoke to cover. And there we go, he commits this. 1v3 for the nasty Nafly. He's gonna hear those footsteps coming up Banana. There's Lurk still to his left, and the smoke begins to fade. If they just play time, if they just wait. And he shouldn't be able to get much more, but he's got himself the first at least. If only he nails Dupree. A chance in the clutch, but it's all stripped away, and Astralis hit the board.
He had a real chance for that 1 versus 3, and you had to see him take that risk. Playing at the fountain in that fashion, finding that 1 player coming through ruins was beautiful. The second shot is just a narrow miss. AWP recovered for Astralis, and they've got their first round on the board.
And he knew that third one was also on Banana. Very doable. But it slips by. I love this smoke as well, not only to give cover for the bomb plant, but also the way he used it afterwards really put Glaive in a pickle as he tries to round Koff inside.
He was really hoping someone would turn that corner from CT spawn, unaware that he'd be able to pick him off.
Yeah, we talked about the individuals not, being all too wild on Nuke until Dupree slips through in the second half, but Naf 9-1 straight out the gate here in the opening 5 rounds.
Oh, more aggression down Banana. This time it's put down by Stewie. The follow-up nade, though, is going to get 1, and even had some more chip on a Naf. 34 HP, but it's okay. He's got the AWP on an Inferno. That's got to be a bit more supportive, a bit more passive. You won't see it take too many opening duels, so that HP can still be managed. And Astralis happy to take a risk. They've had so much pressure applied onto their defense in Banana at the B bomb site. This time Glaive is just going to get an early rotation to wrap side of A. It's Magus all alone on the other side of the map.
For a guy whose individual level has kind of maybe fallen off a bit and who's even been self-critical of his own stats, I feel for Stewie in this series. I mean, the amount of times he was damaged by nades on Nuke, now as well, just constantly getting battered by them.
Stewie does a lot of dirty rolls, and he's going to have a lot of those games.
Yeah.
It is almost that, he's not your typical entry fragger, but those players who are that aggressive and that kind of, the tip of the spear to gain map control, you do sometimes just have the bad luck games. Glaive waiting with the UMP.
Good for damage, but not the kill. Elige will still surpass him. Device has to just tuck into the graveyard stairs. This is a big site pinch. And another quick headshot, but now he reveals himself. A good chance at a second, but Nitro gives safe passage to Twist, who comes out Palace. Bomb picked back up in ample time for the plant. Magisk has to save. Liquid, sure, they give 1 round up to Astralis. A near 1v3 clutch from Naf. this time turned right back to a Liquid round win.
And Astralis doesn't have the money to sustain this round loss. They're all gone. Megas doesn't have any money. It might be doable if Megas could have dropped something over to a teammate, but all he can manage now is a pistol, maybe an SMG. This will be a pretty brutal one. Team Liquid taking a 5-1 lead. That round is all Elige. The opening kill onto Glaive in the spawn arches opens up that rap side, which makes it such a difficult defense. That M4 in the site has to stem the tide coming around the bomb site, and Device has nowhere to go with the op. Liquid looking much more confident on this map on their T side, taking control, being patient, progressing in steps across the map to attack these bomb sites.
Again, as it's been, right? These first two maps sometimes feel like a technicality. It's all about getting to the third. Sometimes with bumps in the road on the way. So far, so good here for Liquid.
Chicken slaughtered out of spawn.
Good riddance.
Makis with the creek behind the core. I thought he had the angle. Elige down to 1 HP. They'll recycle that weapon on the CT side. It's on Glaive, the only remaining member without any kind of armor whatsoever, so he might want to pass that off himself. Look how deep, look how far back Liquid is. They're still just content with the 5-on-4. Twist is close up towards mid. Naf and Nitro just joining him off T-ramp, but Stewie is so far back looking for a flank, looking for aggression.
dupreeh finds timing on Twists. That's an easy execution and a bit of a delayed trade. Nobody else was ready to come around the corner quite like Twists.
That's a super delayed trade, and actually that makes this round so dangerous, especially considering Elige is still on the board and he's got 1 health. You almost feel like him and Stewie should be in swap their positions, where Elige with 1 health is watching for that kind of a flank. They give him the op at least, but dupreeh is creeping ever closer, and that's the bomb. He's going to spot it roll down. He's going to get a free kill. Stewie's nowhere close to being able to trade that, and again, dupreeh wreaking havoc. Big kill on the Device, but they still need to get into the bomb site.
Yeah, they just have to forego dupreeh. Screw it, ignore him. Oh, but they run into another pistol. They run into Zipex, who does substantial damage. It's pushed into the 2 versus 2, but HP still on the side of Astralis. And now an op for dupreeh. Chucks that SMG to the side. Stewie's gonna go ahead and try to get this plant, but they're being pinched, and they're being plucked off of the site. Stewie has to come in with the clutch. He knows dupreeh is up close on the box, but where has Glaive got off to? About to come around the corner, the leg spotted. Stewie can't hit his shot right away, and as he anticipates dupreeh, so be it. That's Astralis with a second. Coming off of a big play here from dupreeh, catching Twists with no trade potential, and then he fakes the fallback. Runs through apps, smokes it off as if he had fallen to balcony, and instead comes back through alt mid. Really smart play from him.
Yeah, what a beast dupreeh's been in this series so far in these 2 maps. And you talked about the frustration of Stewie being very critical of some of his performance lately. That's a round right there. It's usually not the rounds of going in towards a banana and taking so much damage. At this one right here, a winnable 1 versus 2 that he played to perfection, and just he's going to be so frustrated that Glaive does not show his full face around that corner, that he just sees the elbow, gives away his position.
So a second from Astralis, and one they're going to be happy to take on this CT side, kind of robbing it there with the half buy. They did a really good job of still keeping enough cash and yet giving themselves enough tools to make things possible. That's going to reward them now as they come off of the win. Rifles in the mix, a Krieg save, and utility added. Glaive blind but not punished, and now a double peek from the site itself. That's just going to sweep away the arch wrap, leaving Naf and Twists alone.
That's a defense that almost accidentally is perfect. 2 players falling into the site at the right moment, and when the presence comes around, they realize what's coming.